Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday care people. It's your boy, the Big Canucker, and we have got ourselves, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best looking knives that has come across my eye. I first saw this, I think a couple of years ago. I was looking at one of the blade shows, and I was absolutely blown away by how well this looked. And I always wanted to get my hands on one, but with the old border guys being a little bit sticky on flippers and stuff like that, I decided not to pull the trigger on this until just recently here, about 6 weeks ago. I ended up doing a little bit of a trade, and I got myself a Case XX CG01 aluminum Tonto flipper, and I have to tell you, this knife is even better looking in person than it is on the internet, but it does fall short in a few ways. I don't know if this is the most disappointed I've been or what. I just did not. Well, the thing about this is the expectations may have exceeded reality, and this knife here, despite having a lot of really, really excellent things on it, has got some real glaring flaws that I don't know. I just wished that they had done a few things differently. Despite both companies that are involved in this having a really excellent reputation. So we've got Case Knives. I think they wanted to get into more of they're the traditional guys. They've been around for absolutely ever, WR Case and Sons. They've got traditionals, and they've got some extremely well-built traditionals that just fit in your pocket, do the job, and they've been doing that for hundreds plus years. Now, the other company that's involved in this is actually a company called Southern Grind, and they have got, as far as I'm concerned, I think quite a good reputation for building some really, really interesting and some well-built knives. The fit and finish on this knife, there's nothing to complain about this whatsoever, but there are a few things, and watching some videos with Zach Brown, it seems like Southern Grind is a great bunch of guys out there, and they want to do some really, really good job. They want to do some good things out there in the knife community, and I think they are. I just think that this one here was a tiny bit of a hit or a tiny bit of a miss, and that is based on a few things. Let's go over it. All right, so what we have here is we've got ourselves an aluminum frame lock Tonto with S35VN. And from the looks of it, it is a gorgeous knife, Tonto. And you'd think, well, you got to wonder, hey, what could be an issue with this? I'll show you here. All right, just so the packaging comes, you can see that Case is kind of the main brand guys on this. This kind of PO'd me here that when I got this, it had a little sticker on it, and I tried peeling it off, left the big white mark. But you can see that, assembled by, looks like it says Jilly, inspected by Nick. And I got to say, each one of those did a great job because the knife was really, really assembled. The fit and finish on this knife was excellent. There was nothing to complain about whatsoever as far as the fit and finish, the centering, bang on. And Southern Grind has got some really, really, interesting and really nice knives out there. All right, so let's go over the kind of the technical aspects of this. Overall length is 8.375 inches, so it's kind of on the big side. Once you get over 8 inches, that's a big one, and I've never heard that from from my wife, but that's okay. Damn it, they all fit somewhere. Cutting edge or blade length is 3.375 inches. Cutting edge is 3.375 inches. Now, I got to wonder where the heck they get that from. So if they measure right from here to here, or do they measure from here, or do they include that? Because that is a cutting edge right there. And the other thing is, where do they measure blade length? From here to the very tip? I don't know. I'm going to get out some calipers one day and figure it all out, but it just doesn't seem right to me. Blade width is 1 inch at its tallest. The blade thickness, and you can see that it is a really, really thick 0.15 of an inch. It's some stocky S35VN, and you can see that it goes all the way to the end of the tip. This is a really, really robust, strong, big hunk of S35VN that, dare I say, could probably even pry paint can open with it, even though knives are for cutting, not for prying. And here we go. It's got your CPM S35VN. And of course, CPM stands for Crucible Particle Metallurgy. I haven't explained that in a while. What they actually do is they take the ingredients for the S35VN, they put them in a melting pot, they melt them down to liquid form, and then they spray them in a cold room so the stuff, it becomes microscopic globules, and then they mix it all together, and then they melt it into an ingot. So you've got every little part of this, the carbon, all the stuff that makes up S35VN. It's a really, really homogeneous mixture all the way through the blade, and that gives it a really, really excellent set of characteristics. All right, so it is a Tanto. It is a flat style with a kind of I would say kind of almost, they say it's flat style, but I think it's kind of a high saber ground because you've got the flat into there, and that's one of the mistakes we will go over. The edge type, of course, is plain. The handle length is 5 inches. It is made of aluminum. Now you've got yourself an aluminum frame lock, and it looks like you've got yourself a little bit of an over travel stop inside there, as well as a piece of steel, so you don't have any sort of lock stick whatsoever. I mean, there is a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of lock stick in there, but I would say that it's more kind of edge or geometry of the blade rather than any sort of materials having a stick to it. It is 4.8 ounces. It is an anodized red, which is really, really good. This race car red, or whatever you want to call it, is one of the most gorgeous knives and gorgeous colors that I have seen in a knife in a really long time. And I got to say that I think this is a great looking knife. All right, so it is left or right-handed as far as the clip's concerned, but it is only tip up. Now you do have this little interesting thing here. I was kind of, when I saw the pictures, I didn't completely understand what that was. I thought perhaps it was just, once you pop your clip off, well, you'll have a big hole there, so they put this in there. No, when I got it, it is actually a little bit of a thumb ramp. So when this is in your pocket, if you don't happen to be a lanyard nut like me, you can grab the knife with your thumb and the clip, and you can pop it out, and this is really grippy without having any sort of kind of hot spot on it. There's a tiny bit on your pinky finger if that's the way you want to carry it, but I am more concerned about this clip than this little kind of doohickey that helps you pull it out of your pocket. So it is, let's just see, it is a flipper, and the flipping action on this, I gotta say, is excellent. Southern Grind has done a really, really great job for these guys as far as their geometry on their flipping pivot, because sometimes you can get this pivot that's a little bit too low, or the way it's set up, it just doesn't transfer energy very well. But I gotta say, Case, along with Southern Grind, really nailed that. It very well, it never fails to fire. The detent is dialed in. I think they did a great job with that. All right, so now it is a USA-made blade. The call signals. The name of it is called the CG01, and that basically stands for, C stands for case, G stands for grind, as in Southern Grind, and 01 stands for this is the first collaboration between the two. So they call it an everyday carry. I think it is an everyday carry knife, although I gotta say there's some issues that I have with it. Okay, first one being, I think that Southern Grind and Case did a disservice to this knife by putting a flat ground blade on this. It is really, really thick behind the edge. I think they would have done so much better if they would have done kind of a hollow grind in there. I know I'm not the guy grinding these. I'm not the guys paying for the machine time, but I think you would have had quite a better slicer with a deep hollow ground in this knife. I think it would have looked better, first of all, and I also think that it would have cut way better, because when you're putting this big wedge of S35VN through a big piece of cardboard, now some really light pieces of cardboard this does all right, but when you've got any sort of kind of cardboard that's got a little bit of structure to it, it is going to hang up, and it does hang up. It is maddening where it pushes itself through the cardboard rather than slicing itself through the cardboard. So I gotta say that I think that they made kind of a mistake that way. The other thing that absolutely drives me insane on this is this little short, wide pocket clip. It hangs up right here on the cut. So now if they would have maybe taken the cutout and put it on the inside rather than the outside, that might have been a little bit better. The other thing is, I don't understand this whole little kind of small doohickey. If you want to go with kind of a shorter clip, maybe go with a shorter clip, skinnier, and make it a real kind of a deep carry. Now, I know that there are some laws out there that, concealed weapon and stuff like that, you got to have a certain amount kind of sticking out. Well, I mean, if you've got this much sticking out, you know, yes, you can see it, but if you've got this much sticking out, you can still see it too as well. And I think that putting themselves into a clip with a deep carry pocket clip and not this little wide bugger would be so much nicer, so much easier. I have such a hard time getting this out of a pair of jeans. And the other thing is, us as being knife guys, we don't always just what the way the knife looks at, the way it flips, the way it cuts. Also, a big part of my knife enjoyment is how the thing sounds. And when I pop the knife out of my pocket, I can hear this. Do you hear that? I hate the way that clip sounds. Let's go right to the microphone. To me, that is one of the cheapest sounds that I have. And I have got knives that when you open them, and they're not expensive knife, they make an excellent sound. That little click, that's a great sound. When you close a knife, that's a great sound. That's an awful sound. The other thing is, when it's in my hand, this little edge sticking up really bugs the heck out of the inside of my finger. I mean, the ergonomics on this knife here are not spectacular. I mean, they've got the aluminum here is machined here. It is, not completely rounded, but there is some kind of chamfering on it. The edges aren't crazy sharp, but it's not a super crazy, comfortable knife. I mean, the jimping is great too as well. The jimping is real nice. I mean, this aluminum, when you do feel it, it is a little bit slippery. I wish they had kind of perhaps put the jimping onto here too as well, because most of the times if I'm going to hold this knife, I'm holding it like this with my thumb right here. That's the way the size of it, with being in a big 5-inch handle, and you having this big guard here, it seems a little unnatural to hold it like that unless you're doing something specific. And it's not, I mean, it's just my wrist doesn't go that way too well. It goes like this so much better, right? That's what I think where you want your jimping here rather than out here. Or if you're going to do this way, because sometimes you do, take this jimping, move it down there, take some jimping, put it here, and then you've got, I think, some great usable jimping, and you've got some great usable jimping here with your thumb. That's just me collecting knives for a few years. I'm not a designer, but that seems to be my bag. All right, so the other thing too is when this little corner here, lots of times, rather than opening the knife or closing the knife using my thumb, I'll just grab it with my finger, right? And as I'm pushing the blade and my finger, it just seems to hang up just that little bit. And I think that, I don't know if it's every single one of them, probably just the fact that it's a little bit of a geometry on the blade there. And the other thing that bugs me just a little bit is the fact that you have got, I mean, over 50% lockup with this, as you can see. But that is just my little nitpicking. I just think the first time that Case is going to do a Southern grind or a collaboration with anybody and come up with a modern flipper, I think that they should have done a little bit more research and kind of fixed a few small things. But I mean, ultimately, it is an absolutely gorgeous knife. The one thing I did want to show you here is, yes, it is got the Case XX here. But if you look, where is my light? And you will see that Southern grind. Let's just see. You can see the Southern grind right inside there. See that? I thought that was really cool. And I actually kind of found that out by accident. I was just kind of looking inside there to see if they had any sort of milling inside, because 4.8 ounces is not crazy heavy, but sometimes 3.8 ounces would be a little bit better. So I just wanted to see if they kind of and there doesn't seem to be any sort of grinding on the inside there, just to lighten the load a little bit. But I mean, yeah, I think that this knife is just, I mean, it's close. I mean, they've got some other new ones here, like the Kinsella and some other things like that. Maybe we'll give those a try. But if they've got the same issues as this one, then I just don't know. Now, I think that perhaps Case, that's the other thing here too. This lanyard hole, I wish it was back farther a little bit. It just seems like sometimes when you get the lanyard holes that are like this and the way it holds, it just doesn't feel right against the kind of the palm of your hand. But overall, I mean, the fit and finish, this backspacer is a good looking backspacer. This is the stonewash on this is absolutely gorgeous. I love this little accent on here with this little pull tab. I mean, overall, an absolutely gorgeous knife. Just the overall usability of this is not what it could be. You make a few small changes, and I think you're hitting a home run case. If you want to listen to me, you can call it the Big Canucker version. I would be okay with that. And if not, no big deal. I'm sure a lot of people will love this knife just the same. It's just one of the ones that I think, despite being so good looking, I think I'm going to move down the road because I just don't enjoy carrying it as much as I thought it would. It's not that it's a terrible knife. It's just got a little bit of warts, and that's enough for me to maybe take this and push it down the road and not leave it inside the collection. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I really hope that you guys had a great time here. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to push the old subscribe, as well as give me the thumbs up and leave a comment in the old comment section. It really helps with the algorithm. I'm not even sure what an algorithm is. I've just heard other people say that word. So please stay safe out there. Keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.